So that's the kind of individuals that attend the Grove rituals and the things that they're involved with at the Grove itself, right? And so, of course, if Wilford Woodruff was attending this type of a thing, that would be something very, very concerning. And so we have several different accounts of what happened when he was there, because it's very interesting. Because after his visit with the Bohemian Club, at the Bohemian Club, not the Grove, that's a very important distinction. Different things happen at both places. That he died about 3 days after a dinner that he attended.
It's your destiny, be in harmony. We were never meant to be apart.
Why do you tease me, Ben?
It's just so easy.
You think I am
Low-hanging fruit.
I am. I'm a low cow. I believe I am a low cow in the LDS community.
Oh.
And Ward Radio, if they heard that, they would laugh and they would agree that I am the low cow of LDS podcasting.
People that treats sacred things like a joke don't have much sway with me anymore.
Well, I mean,
okay.
we're not sake. I mean, this isn't church. We're just pundits, or not pundits, we're just podcasters, influencers, whatever you want to call it. But I am cringy a little bit, I think. I'm a little cringy. But you know what? I don't care.
It's a matter
because
of opinion.
When I get my front teeth, I'll have like the most amazing smile that anybody's ever seen in their life.
Is that set up? You say when? Are you getting that done or what?
I need somebody to do a GoFundMe.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not kidding. Would you do that? Or just for my dental? No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I'm not going to do it for myself, but now that everybody knows, I'm not going to act like, oh, Ben just decided upon himself to get my front teeth.
If you edit this out.
No, I'm not going to edit it out because
you should do a cuts exclusive for subscribers to your channel. Not subscribers, but members of your channel. And a good little benefit for them. They get to have some behind the scenes
stuff. If you would do it, Ben.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. For my my members. Yeah, that's a good idea. Like deleted scenes. But I was gonna, if you wouldn't mind doing, if you wouldn't mind, I'm already putting you on the spot. I'm not gonna say no. Everybody, right? No, but if you would do a GoFundMe for me, just for my teeth. There's a dentist in town. Because my insurance won't cover it right now. I mean, I don't want to go there right now. It's complicated. Yeah. I need to pay out of pocket, and I need a couple more teeth pulled and filled, like everything done, and then like a bridge or something, where I have my front teeth. I'm not going to show you that I don't. I practiced having my lip down like this. And that's why when I laugh, I go, and then I'll cover my mouth because I look like a jack-o'-lantern if I smile. But I'm trying to find somebody that could do a GoFundMe. They have all the money in their account because I would trust them, or an account, not my own account.
Right.
And then they pay the dentist. I don't want to see the money at all. It's not for any personal. I just want my teeth fixed, man.
There you go.
I really do, man. Come on, guys.
Somebody fix.
Is there a dentist in the audience? Is there a dentist in the audience that can fix my teeth?
In Central California, that'll take care of you?
Well, no, there's a dentist here that's ready to do it. I don't know how much it's going to cost. I'm going to find out.
Okay.
But if there's a dentist that follows me, and you want to do it pro bono.
Even better.
Is that just a lawyer term?
Yeah, but you can use it. It's interchangeable. It just means free.
Okay. All right. Welcome to the program, Ben. So today, see how I smile?
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Today we're going to talk about Bohemian Grove. Scary stuff. And just be careful. I always say that. Be careful, Ben.
Be careful, Ben. That's
I
what
mean,
somebody suggested that in your comments. You're like, we should do a exclusive for Rumble people. They can go over to Rumble and
I
watch the
know,
unedited version.
but this is how I make my money is YouTube pays the most
Yeah.
out of. I've got money in Rumble. I don't know how to get out. But anyway, that's a whole other. Okay, so let's do this.
Okay.
So Bohemian Grove, Wilford Woodruff.
Wilford Woodruff.
I don't.
What the? Yeah. So it's been, people have half of the information, and so they come to conclusions that aren't merited, right? And so I think in defense of Wilford Woodruff, I think it's important to get all of the information there, because there are people that are claiming that Wilford Woodruff attended the Bohemian Grove, and all the things that are associated with that. And so this is something that I've studied and that I've covered extensively in my book, Invasion Volume 2. And so I'm going to be pulling some information out of there. So encourage all of your viewers to go check out Invasion Volume 2 at the Tree of Liberty Society.com and get more details on this whole thing. But I think it's important to get more information out there, because people have to know that the lies that are being told are designed to be able to destroy people's faith in the restored gospel of Jesus Christ.
Right.
And so, long story short, no, he did not attend the Grove. But people will say, but his obituary and all these different articles talked about this. And so I want to get into that. We need to understand some terms and some important key factors to be able to dissect and really understand what really happened. And so first I want people to understand, okay, what is the Bohemian Grove? And so the Bohemian Grove, which is, I guess, the better known organization. Well, the same organization. You have the Bohemian Grove, which is owned and operated
It's whatever
by
Google tells you. Sorry.
whatever.
Okay.
You just go to Wikipedia. Just you have the Bohemian Grove, which is owned by the Bohemian Club. And so the Bohemian Club was formed in 1872 in San Francisco. Okay. And it quickly became the hub of the elites in banking, government, arts, academia, entertainment industry, and those types of things. And so in 1878, they started doing these rituals at their grove in just north of San Francisco. So the club itself is on Taylor Street in San Francisco, and the Grove, the Bohemian Grove, is in Monte Rio, California. So just north of San Francisco, right?
Right.
And so at the Bohemian Grove, they started in 1929 doing a ritual, which later became standardized in a play called The Cremation of Care. And is
that the one that Alex Jones kind of recorded?
Yeah, Alex Jones snuck in somehow, and then somebody else that I actually talked to later on did Alex Jones's second video where he snuck into the owl itself and was able to film into the owl.
Film into the owl?
Like they got into the giant statue, right?
Are you kidding me?
No.
Oh wow. Oh wow. They got that far in.
They got that. Well, he got a job there, is what happened, and so he got a job there, and he's
the guy that was he working for Alex Jones?
No, but he got the video. Like he just did it on his own, and he was like, every night he would send the file to somebody else. So if something happened to him, the video.
So was
would at
this
least be out
before
there.
Technocracy was to what it is today? I mean, was it back in the videotaping days?
This is
and
like
stuff
late
like
90s, early 2000s, right?
Okay.
And so this is a 40-foot concrete owl statue, and it's a shrine that was built in 1929, and they do these rituals called the Cremation of Care ceremony.
Yes.
And go ahead. Sorry.
No, I didn't say anything. I just said
I
yes.
thought you said yes. Oh, okay.
No, I've heard of it.
You've heard of it. So
called.
Probably a lot have, but just kind of giving everybody a recap of what it is.
And you can hear I don't know if it's a PA system or something where they're
in the video
reciting something. Is that a recording or is that somebody doing that live?
Yeah, it's somebody doing it live there.
Okay.
And so it's a script that they do the same every year. And It's the what it represents. It symbolizes the burial of the cares of the world. They're giving up their conscience for the so-called greater good to be able to accomplish the New World Order agenda. And it is the Brotherhood of the Bohemian Friendship, is also called the Brotherhood of Death, which is what there's another organization called the Brotherhood of Death, which is the Skull and Bones Society. And so just kind of just get you an idea of what's going on in the Bohemian Grove. You have the in the ritual, there is a priest. So this is a religious ritual that you have your Bushes, your New Gingrich, your Nixons, just people that, the who's who in, the elites are at this ritual. And it's a priest. And the high priest says, "O thou great symbol of all mortal wisdom, owl of Bohemia, we do beseech thee, grant us thy counsel." And so as they're doing this mock human sacrifice, they are performing this ritual to receive the wisdom of this satanic god. And so there are different things that occur. This is where the atom bomb, was discussed, and the plans to use it were discussed. Their motto, weaving spiders come not here. What that means is not to bring outside business. You can't go there and discuss business deals, right? For your own personal business. It's to be only Bohemian Grove or Bohemian Club business only.
Well, it's interesting just real quick. It's interesting because on the dollar bill, you'll see a spider web, and you see an owl. Yeah. Are they related to Freemasonry, you think?
I'm sure there's some crossover on the higher levels, but you see a lot of crossover in these elite organizations for sure. And so they, let's see here. I'm just trying to go through. And so in the, we learn in the book of Moses, this connection to the sodomite supremacy agenda and the conspiracy. In Moses chapter 5, it says, Adam knew his wife, and she bare unto him sons and daughters, and they began to multiply and replenish the earth, right? So they knew each other. And then we look in chapter 5, it talks about how they were brothers, and every man in the conspiracy knew his brother. It is one of their rituals. Even if they're married to a woman, they are still, engaged in these behaviors to get out, to be able to show who they are. Initiations, let's say. And so in just kind of connecting this, the Bohemian Grove rituals is men only. Women are not allowed at the Bohemian Grove rituals.
Right.
And in 1983, this magazine called the Bay Area Reporter, it was a gay magazine in the 1980s. And I just want to read you a portion of what they wrote about their experience at the Grove. Quote, the gay cruising. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, just real quick, I want you to. Yeah. It's funny. I was just going to make a statement that as progressive as most of these people claim to be,
right?
They're allowed to have their male only clubs. Anyway, go ahead. I just thought I'd point that out.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Actually, they were sued over it, and they decided to pay the fine instead.
Right. 1.5 million, I think.
It was. Yeah. It was something huge. Yeah. So the gay cruising, quote, the gay cruising late at night around the lake and river road is quiet, but still quite the thing. Many a Bohemian widow, a living spouse of a Bohemian, is called a widow because they weren't really wives, but set pieces, a cover for the public. Would freak if she knew what her bohunk was doing in the redwoods and with whom. Lunch at the Owl's Nest last Saturday had at the head table Gerald Ford, Kissinger, Helmut Schmidt, Alexander Haig, David Rockefeller, and George Shultz. Haig, wearing light blue pre-washed denim, was passed a note over his Eggs Benedict breakfast that read, Alexander Haig is surrounded by Grove fairies. The waiters are rather gay this year. I hope that the Bohemian widows realize that each of their husbands is a heterosexual or homosexual philanderer. I have met several who were both. So that's the kind of individuals that attend the Grove rituals and the things that they're involved with at the Grove itself, right? And so, of course, if Wilford Woodruff was attending this type of a thing, that would be something very, very concerning. And so we have several different accounts of what happened when he was there, because it's very interesting. Because after his visit with the Bohemian Club, at the Bohemian Club, not the Grove. That's a very important distinction. Different things happen at both places. That he died about 3 days after a dinner that he attended, and just trying to let's see here, finding my links to.
So he was at the Bohemian Club, not the Grove.
Right. So that's a very, very important thing. And so Wilford Woodruff and what's his name, George Q. Cannon and Heber J. Grant were at the club. There's no evidence that any of them have ever been to the Grove. And so, it's not the best of company either way. But what was going on was a guy by the name of Colonel Trumbo. His family were members of the church, right? And back then, the church was much smaller, and people just knew each other. Even if Colonel Trumbo, Isaac Trumbo, wasn't active himself, he was still very knowledgeable and conversed with leaders of the church. He was a close associate with Heber J. Grant, and it was Colonel Trumbo worked with Heber J. Grant to arrange meetings at the Bohemian Club in downtown San Francisco for Wilford Woodruff to meet these people. Because if you remember at this time in 1891, and right in the late 1890s, the church had just gotten over legislation that the federal government had dissolved the church. The church did not exist as a legal entity at this point in time. And the government had seized all of the church's property and the church's money. And so the church was in dire financial straits.
What year was this again?
1891.
Wow. Oh my gosh.
So they had been disenfranchised though since the 1880s, 1870s, right? They were dissolved as a legal entity, and their property and their funds were confiscated by the federal government.
Wow.
And so you can just imagine what kind of a situation that they were in financially at this point.
Right.
And so they had just at this point sent a letter and were granted amnesty from the federal government. They were just at this point, they were said, okay, we're not going to prosecute you anymore for former so-called crimes against the federal government, and you're reinstituted as a religious organization, and here's your property back. And so they're in a position where they're starting to kind of get on their feet again, but I
would like to do a more in-depth video about that one day.
Okay.
That's interesting. I don't want to get off on a tangent, but just real quick, but you are tangenting, Troy. That's what you're doing right now. Hold on. Okay, I just had a really quick question. That's it. And then you can continue your train of thought. There must have been some conspiracy behind that, because the government wouldn't there was somebody probably that hated the church at that time, maybe in Washington. Would you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we'll do a program on that. Anyway, go ahead.
Okay. there's a lot more info, right? So it's on the Church Historians Press website. We have the journals of Heber C. Kimball, and then Journal of Heber J. Grant was published privately a few years ago. And then if you just go to the Church Historian Archives, we have their, the what's it called? The obituary of Wilford Woodruff when he died. And so let's see here. I just want to look at so we have 1881, 1882. Heber J. Grant is visiting the Bohemian Club and developing relationships with these bankers, because he was involved in the banking industry and good friends with this Colonel Trumbo, who was a member of the Bohemian Club. And so on August 23rd of 1893, Wilford Woodruff undergoes intestinal surgery in San Francisco. So he's in his, late 80s, or I can't remember how old he was when he died itself, but he's an old man. He's an old man for today, let alone in 1890s, right? And then can you imagine a surgeon in the 1890s? What kind of, just the sanitation, the methodology would have been just pretty wild. And so this old man traveled across the country, is in a foreign place, and he's getting intestinal surgery. Not exactly the best outcomes are coming out of this. And so this is according to George Q. Cannon's journal. It says President Woodruff, Bishop Clausen, and myself accompanied Colonel Trumbo to the Bohemian Club, where we partook of a banquet in honor of the 80th anniversary of the birth of Professor Baer, a noted scientist, especially in etymology. A great many excellent speeches were made. Among others, President Woodruff spoke, and I was greatly pleased, as were all who listened to him by his remarks. And so a lot of people say that this dinner was held in Woodruff's honor. That's right here we see in Cannon's journal, his own personal journal, is saying that no, this wasn't for Woodruff. He was able to speak there, but these internationalist globalists were not holding a party in his honor. It was for this other guy that they just happened to be there for networking purposes, to be able to work with to find people that were willing to help the church out financially to get them through this slump. And so, but it was not in his honor. They were not praising him. The only praise here that we can see is, coming, from his associate, George Q. Cannon. And so about 3 days later, Wilford Woodruff then dies. And so you have these, some ideas that he was poisoned some people just don't understand that there's a difference between the Grove and the club. First of all, so they're thinking, he's going there. And then secondly, they're thinking, was he poisoned? What was going on? So do we have could he have been poisoned? I'm sure he wasn't making friends with, Satan, so could they have poisoned him? It's absolutely plausible. Could he just be an old man that just had intestinal surgery and that's what killed him? That to me is just as plausible. So I think the jury's out on what was his cause of death.
But it was in 1898, right? The same year that he...
1894.
Oh, I thought it was 1898.
No, I'm sorry, 1893. Sorry, I was a year off. 1893.
Well, he died in 1898.
No, that was Snow. I've got the dates here. So wait.
September 2nd, 1898.
You're right, 1898.
Yeah, yeah. But so you're saying
so
that
he's attending in 94, but then we have let's see here. I'm just looking at the newspapers. So this is 1898. He's there another occasion. So okay, yes, fast forward to 1898.
Yeah, sorry.
News,
okay.
September 5th, 1898, at a dinner given in his honor at the rooms of the Bohemian Club the other night, of which no man under 80 was permitted to partake, and where George Bromley, Dr. Baer, and other octogenarians were assembled, Elder Woodruff was voted the smartest of the party. So this was a different party. Okay. And so he's attending this to be able to develop these relationships, to be able to get these loans. And then his health starts to deteriorate because of the surgery, and he dies. But what's interesting, right? Because Trumbo was there to try and get the people, the members of the church to merge with the world, to kind of get themselves intertwined with these elites. And as soon as, basically Woodruff dies, this Trumbo guy is very successful. And then as soon as Woodruff dies, they kick him out and all of his business interests fall apart and he dies penniless and homeless.
Who kicks him out? The church?
The Bohemians.
Oh, okay. Wow.
And so, as long as, if you're not one of them, really, as long as you're not useful to them, they have no use for you and they get rid of you. They have no support for you. And so
now Trumbo wasn't a member of the church, ahead,
but it's not.
Trumbo wasn't a member of the church though, right?
He had been he had left, right? He wasn't excommunicated. He was left. His family was still members. And so he was still friends with them. But at the time he had disassociated himself from the church. Correct.
But he was helping the church.
He was still friends with Heber J. Grant. Yeah,
build relationships of trust, BRT with the wicked people. Okay.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
And so in my book Invasion, this is all I have the links, I have the specific documents and where to find them and the exact quotes. And so that you can kind of look into this more yourself. But it's important that more people understand, because there is so much out there right now trying to destroy the foundations of the restored gospel of Jesus Christ. And so it's important for us to realize that Woodruff was not a part of the satanic rituals at the Grove. And, it was something much different than that. And so it's important that we understand what's really going on so we don't fall for this idea that these good, righteous men were wicked.
Yeah, that's interesting. And it's also kind of weird that barely 1991, the federal government was disenfranchising the church.
Well, they had just re-enfranchised the church.
Oh, they
disenfranchising it back in the 80s, 70s.
In the 1880s. Okay.
Right.
So it'd been about a decade. Did they ever get that money restored back to them? Like, were they paid back any of that?
They got their property, but the other stuff was basically fines, considered fines. And
I would love to do more research on just that particular topic and talk about it sometime.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you so much, Ben.
Thank you.
Yeah, this has been very interesting. Let me think. I had a question though. Yeah, that sarcastic look. I could see it.
I'm smiling because you said, I get criticism. We had one commenter say that I talk too fast, and so I need to slow
you know what?
it down.
Forget those people.
So I'm trying to smile and talk slower.
No, you don't. All right, let me stop this. This is good. That was good. Wait, hold on. Let me think, though. Let me think. I'm going to edit this. I had something else I wanted to say. Oh, just real quick. So he had gone more than once to.
So Woodruff had gone, I think, twice, but you have George Q. Cannon went, I think, 3 or 4 times, and then Heber J. Grant went, several times as well. I think he went the most.
Well, like you said, there's association. What's the word I'm looking for? Causation, right?
Oh, right.
Association.
Since television was invented, everybody lives longer, so therefore television helps people live longer, right? So right. So it doesn't cause. What's the word? It doesn't cause causation
versus correlation.
Right. Yeah. Correlation.
Causation versus correlation.